All right. Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Welcome to another fun hour class of learning here with Michaels and Faber-Castell USA. Like what Nate said, it was super nice to see some familiar names popping up on the screen. Hello, hello. And if this is your first time joining us, joining my class with Michaels and Faber-Castell, my name is Leigh Bella Ralston. It's very nice to meet you. I'm so glad that you're here. So glad to have all of you here with us today. It's going to be fun. I know I say that all the time, but please allow me to say that because I do have lots of fun every time I do this classes with you guys. For some of you that are new here, and we haven't met before, just a little intro, I guess, about myself. My name is Leigh. I know sometimes it's a little difficult to read that. I get that. It's okay. I am a mom of three beautiful kids. My oldest one is almost an adult. Oh my God, let's not talk about that. And I have a boy, middle one, and a little 11-year-old that not so little anymore. I am broadcasting live from Northwest Arkansas. I am a self-taught illustrator and graphic designer. I do love creating kawaii characters. And so for the past couple of years, so that was something that I was doing. We're producing and manufacturing a lot of stationery items, but now I do enjoy a lot of my time teaching and doing a lot of content on social media. So anyways, now that that's out of the way, today's class is something very special and dear to me because I'm very passionate about journaling. And this is something that I have been doing since I was a little girl. And I hope that I'm not the only one. I used to call my journal my diary. So yes, I would normally address my journal entries with beginning of dear diary, and that was when I was little. But now things a little bit changed here and there, and that's what we're going to go through. We're going to go through a little bit of my journals from the recent past so I can share with you some of my process and what I love to do when it comes to my journaling. And we're going to talk about a little bit of different journals that are available to you in the market right now. And if you have any questions for me, I would be more than happy to answer that. And if I miss some, Miss Jennifer from Faber-Castell would help me. Okay, and so I'm going to go head over to the overhead camera and we're going to get this class started. All right, here we go. And I hope that our camera cooperates with us because we're having a little trouble earlier. Here we go, it worked. Okay, so today we're going to be doing a journal entry in our notebook. And I will be using Faber-Castell's Pitt Artist pens. Now, you don't have to have these markers, but I do hope that after this class, you're going to be inspired to pick some up from your local Michaels, or you can order them online, of course. All right, so when I talk about journaling, I love journaling. I do have a lot of notebooks in here, and I'm going to open up my chat window so I can see some of your chats while I am talking to you. So when it comes to journaling, there are many different types of journaling. There's scrapbooking. You can journal as a scrapbook, and I have some samples here for you guys. So I do love to scrapbook as well. And I do love to keep my pictures documenting our stories or travels and all that. And this type and this style and size of notebook is called the traveler size notebook. And what a traveler's notebook is something like this. Basically, you have a cover like this, and then you have individual notebook or inserts like this that you can put in. And so you can put in as many as you can, but it can get a really chunky as well, easy. So and this is what you're going to see here. This is a traveler's notebook. And since I have a lot of ephemera or die cuts, stickers inside, it gets a little chunky. And when I use some die cuts and ephemeras like this, I'm using the 3-dimensional also. So, some puffy stickers like that. And so it can get really chunky like that. But you don't really necessarily have to do something like that. Like this is just a notebook that I keep in here, and sometimes I use it a wallet. I have some receipts in here. And as you can see, I have some boarding passes in here. So this is the traveler's notebook style. Okay. And then I also have my Hobonichi, which is really when you talk about journals, there's really no wrong or no right. It's all about just what you prefer. And if you'd like to do your journal as like a scrapbooking where you keep your pictures and all that, or if you want to keep it just writing, plain writing, and so that works as well. In the beginning, I in the beginning of the year, I'm always super inspired to start a notebook or a new journal. And, this is when I go all out. It's like, okay, I'm going to, print all my photos and I am going to keep it in my journal. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this system throughout the year. And I always find myself deflated when after so many days and weeks, then I don't follow through. And then I have just learned to kind of embrace that process and say, you know what? This is my way, my journey, my journal. So, I do whatever I would like. And I hope that you keep that in your mind as well when you're doing, when you're going to keep a journal like that. And I do understand that it's super exciting to have a journal where it's brand new, the pages are super clean, and then you feel like you mess one page up and you're like, I shouldn't have done that. I want to start anew. Don't worry about it. I have so many notebooks where some are like used from beginning to the end. I have pages like this where sporadically I would put something in and then I would flip the page and then put something in there again, so it's okay. That's fine. And so here I was very inspired in the beginning of October. There's a thing called Inktober online. And so for 19 days, yay, usually I last like at least a week. But this month I did 19 days of really drawing every day. And as you can see, I have here some drawings. And this notebook is called Hobonichi. Hobonichi, this is made in Japan. And this is one of my favorite notebooks ever. It's a little hard to find it here in the US, but I really love this notebook because of the paper. The paper is using the Tomoe River paper, which is a very smooth paper. And if you are a woman of faith, then you know that the Bible, if you look at your Bible and you feel your Bible, it has a very smooth, very thin type of paper. And so that paper that they're using is very similar to the Hobonichi notebook. And I love using it with my illustrations and my drawings and my letterings and when I'm writing as well. So that's one type. And this size is called the A5 size. So I love that one. This one is called the MD notebook or the Midori notebook. As you can see, I still have a lot of pages in here and I do still have a lot of notebooks. And so I kind of did this like how I did with my traveler's notebook. I did a little bit of mixed media. And this is one thing that you're going to learn when it comes to journaling is that you're going to choose what's best suits your needs. For example, you really love to use a lot of mixed media in your journal, then you want to make sure you get a paper that will be able to really absorb the paints and the inks that you're going to put in there, the watercolors. So whatever it is that you feel like you use most of the time, then find something that will fit that need. So this one, I just have writing. I love to write poems and my own music, my song. I'm a songwriter. So I have notebooks like this everywhere and I really, really enjoy it. Now, this type of notebook has a watercolor paper. And so since I really do enjoy using watercolors a lot, and I actually did some mixed media in here as well. So this is from Archer and Olive, and this is their watercolor journal. But you don't have to get this specific notebook. You can get something from Strathmore that is, it has a mixed media paper. That is great as well. And I do have those as well. So as you can see in my journals, I do have a lot of many different things. I have swatches of some paints that I just picked up, or some of the paints that I already have in my stash. I do a lot of letterings. I do a lot of sketches in here, practicing. Quotes. I love quotes. I love seeing positive affirmation in my journals. And this is something that I carried throughout my planner as well. Even in my planner pages, I love, using positive words and affirmations and things like that, because it really helps me every day to stay focused, to stay motivated. Not every day is a good day, but every day is good. So you see a lot of practice of many different mediums that I have. These are some Faber-Castell Albert Dürer colored pencils, which is, look at that. Can you imagine that's a colored pencil? But see, you're going to see a whole lot of this in my journal. And so what I want to know is that, are you new to journaling? Is this something that you also enjoy, or is this something that you think you want to continue on? You want to start it, you want to begin a journal, but really don't know where to start? I'd love to see that in the comments so we can have a little bit of dialogue in here and have a little bit of conversation, even though you're far away from me. And so, like, this is what we're going to do. Believe it or not, I've actually finished this notebook, and I'm super proud of myself because, as you've seen in the other notebooks, I have so many pages where it's, not been touched. But in this notebook, I think it's because I found a notebook and a paper that I love. And so that's why, I can't stress it enough that you find one notebook or one journal that you will fall in love with. So if you get a notebook, I hope you don't get super expensive notebooks, but it's always worth, to me, it's always worth it to get one and try it. And if it just doesn't work out, then I would move on to the next notebook. And I think this is what happened to this notebook, is that I really fell in love with the pages. I was able to use my gelatos. I was able to use, some mixed media in here, watercolors and markers. And that's why it really kept me going. And I was able to fill this whole journal up. And so that was super fun. As you can see, I was practicing my faces. And so normally I would probably cover this up or, tear this page and throw it away if I'm not happy with the result. But I love it. Everything here is me. Does that make sense? Everything in here is like a part of my journey, whether it is an unfinished piece layout or it is a horrible drawing. I have learned to really embrace that process. Okay, I'm going to go through some of the comments in here. So Amy said that she had a diary growing up and a few traveler journal. Okay, and then last year she made a sketchbook and she would like to start a journal like this. That makes me super happy. Wendy said that I love lists and daily, weekly to-dos and have been keeping a written journal for a couple of years now, but I would really like to include more fun and decorative parts too. Perfect. That's what we're gonna try and do today. Okay, Leah said I've been bullet journaling for a few months with varying degrees of success. Hey, great job. Every single step. That's good. We're gonna count every win, right? So Courtney said she loves journaling. Started in line journals. That's me too in the 90s. Well, yes, 90s too. I was born 1982. So I switched to a grid in the mid 2000s, took an art journaling class in school in 2008 and have settled on A5 grid or a dot grid since late. That's me too. I love dot grids and a grid as well. Bless the mistakes. Yes, Patricia. Yes. Happy accidents. So, okay. I think there's going to be a lot to flip through, but as you can see, there's really a lot of many different layers of this notebook, and here, censored. I've been trying many different style, and I think as an artist or just a creative, as a creative, it's okay to find that or to keep searching for that style that you like. And I always say this because I've made the same mistake. I remember while I was trying to embrace that style that I have, thinking that I can't try other things because then it's going to ruin the quote unquote brand, because you want to stick to something and people knowing you for that. But I think as a creative and just a person, I think you want to keep growing and growing and evolving, whether it comes to your personal growth, mental, or when it comes to your art. It's the same way, right? Okay. All right. So here we go. I am going to use this time Michael Bonici because this is what we're going to use because I love this pages and I have been ignoring this notebook. And so we're just going to practice in here and we're going to keep it in my journal and we're going to have fun with it. Okay, so the Pitt Artist pens. What are so special about the Pitt Artist pens? I love my markers and you'll see me use this on my social media. You'll see me use it for real pictures, videos. These are water-based India ink. Um, India ink, it's going to be waterproof. There's no foul odor, which is really good because when I use alcohol markers, you open it up and I get super dizzy and it's just like, yeah, it throws me off. And this one is light fast, just, it's resist the sunlight. So your colors are going to remain vibrant, saturated, and alive for a very, very long time. So in your marker, if you're not familiar with the Pitt Artist pens, in your marker, you will find, here we go, the color, so the name. I love names. So when I buy markers that doesn't have names, I kind of get disappointed. I'm like, no, why? So these markers will have their names and the number system and also the light fast. So 3 is really, really light fast. So it's 1 to 3 level system, all right? And then I want you to pick colors that you want. I'm going to choose maybe something more fall. So let's pick the scarlet red. I'm going to choose medium flesh. Let's choose the green gold, one of my favorite colors ever, magenta. We're going to do brown, dark sepia or sepia. And then I will have the magenta also, but in a super fine tip. It's really nice to have different tips as well, because some of the details and all that, it's nice to just have that small tip and not worrying about the pressure that you're going to use when you're using your brush pen. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. If you're going to use a brush pen, how are you going to get those thin, tiny strokes when you're illustrating or you're drawing in your journals. And so I'm going to use the Indanthrene blue as well and the dark indigo. Okay, so these are nice colors, but I feel like I want some greens in here. So we're going to grab permanent green olive and raw umber, like that. So we have light brown, dark brown, we have greens and corals and all that. Okay, so brush pens. Let's talk about brush pens. It can be a little frustrating to use some brush pens, and this is my journey when it comes to brush pens. I have gone through many, many of them. I think the key to really embracing your process when it comes to using your brush pens is really finding the right paper. Now, the Pitt Artist pens are made of felt tip, so it can get ruined quicker if you're not using a soft and smooth paper. So really finding a paper that has a smooth surface will make the lives of your markers, brush pens so much longer. Lives, like they have lives. But the good thing about Faber-Castell, the Pitt Artist pens also, if you knew this already, I've shown this before, but you can actually pull this one and then flip it because it comes with another tip. So it's like having 2 pens in one, 2 markers on 1 pen, 2 markers on 1 pen, 2 pens and 1 markers. Okay, so when we're doing some brush calligraphy, I know we've talked about this before and we kind of went through some classes and projects that has, involved hand lettering. And if you've missed some of those classes, they are available on Michael's YouTube channel. So when it comes to brush lettering, it really is all about the pressure that you apply using your markers. And this is something that you're going to hear me over and over again, whether it's about illustrating or hand lettering, because the brush pen is really a beautiful tool, because what you can do with it is many different things. You can create very small strokes like this just by using the tip of the marker. Not just using the tip, but by also being very intentional of the pressure that you are using while that you're applying while using your pens. And you can also create some very thick strokes like this, or thin one because I'm applying really light pressure and also just using the tip of my pen. But when I use the belly or the body of the pen, notice how my pen is really slanted, and notice how I'm holding it. I'm holding it around 45-degree angle. So whether you're lefty, it's still going to be like this. You want to make sure that your hands, your wrist over here is very comfortable. It's kind of like your anchor over here, because how you hold your markers is going to be like this. I've seen some hold it like this. I like to hold it here on the base, because this is where I get much control of my marker when I'm holding it here. Very not too close though, because my fingers will get cramped and it hurts. And when you feel like that, it's no fun to create art when your hands are hurting and you're just uncomfortable. So you want to make sure that you want to be as comfortable as you can so that you can enjoy the process of what you are doing. So again, you can create your thin strokes by using the tip of your pen and really applying really light pressure. If you feel like it's not thin enough, the strokes, sometimes your brush nib might be, a little rugged already. So consider that one, because I know it can get frustrating. It's like, I'm really applying really light pressure, but I'm not getting the light strokes that I would like to. So do consider checking in if your marker, the tip of it is already frayed. So, maybe it's time for a new pen like that, so that you can ease your frustration a little bit. Right, to get your thick strokes like this, just apply some pressure. Don't be afraid to bend your pen, but again, as long as you're using a much smoother surface. And yes, Courtney, you're right. Rhodia is a really good paper to start practicing your brush lettering. It is one of the papers that I always use when I'm looking for mine, but it's here somewhere. But I love practicing with a Rhodia pad because it also has a dot grid. And so, that helps me a lot when it comes to just finding my lines and, all that. All right, so now that we have that, I would like to create a very simple yet easy to follow along that we can all do. Now, please do know that I am really not familiar with names of flowers. Maybe some of you here are really loving, familiar with your flower names. Please know that I am not, but I love and adore making florals, even though I don't know their names. So I'm just going to call them pretty flower. I hope that's okay. So we're going to go over here on November 17. I didn't have to do that, but it's going to be a memory. It's a memory in here, and we did this together. Okay, so Thanksgiving is coming up. One thing that I love in my journal is, like what I've mentioned, I love putting in a lot of positive affirmations, things I'm grateful for. Even though it's like repetitive over and over, I really don't mind. I mean, I say the same things over and over in my journals. I'm happy for my good health. I am. Those two words are very powerful. And those two words, changed my life. And so be careful. Words are powerful. And I always remind this to my children, be careful with your words. I love words. Words are beautiful. So when I'm writing in my journal, it's like having an inner dialogue with myself. But instead of, things going in my head over and over again, what helps me is that when I put it down, I felt like I am really having a conversation with I'd like to call it my higher self, or sometimes my inner child. And with social media nowadays, you look at everybody, influencers, and everyone seems like everyone's just doing so well, and everything seems perfect. But I know that we are all going through some things that not everyone knows. We all have some battles, and that's where journaling really helps me, is that it's my time to slow things down and really pause and have a conversation, whether with it's my inner child or my smarter self or my higher self. So just really think about what you want to put in here today. We're going to create I would like to put in like a grateful message in here. So we're going to do a quote, or just a header that says things I'm grateful for, and then we can start working on a list. Think of top 3 things easily. Family, like, right, health, so work and all that. And then we don't have to do it right now, but after that you can just have a little bit of dialogue when it comes to those prompts that you've chosen. So things that you're happy about, grateful for your family, that you can just write a little bit of things in there. Okay, so when it comes to floral, what I like to do is that have them as an accent. Okay, so since we're going to fill in the whole page, I might have to do 16 and 17 just so I can have a bigger page in here, bigger space. I'm going to start with my green gold. The way I do my florals are really easy. I don't like to overthink things. I mean, if you're not new to my classes, you know that I don't overthink things when I'm doing anything, whether it's hand lettering or my drawings. Okay, so this time I'm just going to do a little stretched heart. So look at this. And this is going to be our petals, but just heart. Draw some hearts like this. And then if it helps having the center, start with your center first. But I feel like I'm okay with just drawing these hearts. Just gonna fill this one here. Like that. And I'm gonna put in 3 of these flowers like this. So I'm gonna make 3, which is a fairly big size, not too much, but just enough, kind of like a border over here in this corner. I'm gonna put in the 3 prompts on my left side, and then I'm gonna write about that over here and to my right later after our class. So if you feel like you have too much bigger space in there, that's okay, just fill it in, don't worry about it. Make the petals much thicker so it looks like they're much, they're spread apart. Like that. And then here, draw another heart in here. When I was trying to learn how to draw and illustrate, because I have never been I have never been blessed with great talent when it comes to art when I was younger. I don't know if I just didn't tap into my my power when it comes to art. But I think it's because I was so involved in music. I was, ever since I was little, I was always just singing. And so now that I'm older and I stopped performing, that's when I needed another outlet. And so that's when I started to, research about hand lettering and doing my own illustration. The reason to the story is that when I was first starting and trying to learn again from the basic, because I didn't know how to draw, and that's no joke, I really didn't. And so what helped me a lot is that I was looking at it with a very fresh eyes, like an eyes of a little kid. So I was looking at everything with just basic shapes. And so now that's what I really like to teach, when I'm doing some workshops like this, is that everything is just shape. Look at that. Those are just hearts, and hearts is super easy to make. So we just created this flower with hearts. Now we're going to create the middle. I'm going to make just irregular dots or just irregular circles like this. And then I'll repeat the same process with the two other flowers in there. Like that. And then see the color that I chose? This one is the raw umber. So it's not much of a difference from the green gold. So I'm going to use just a little bit of the dark sepia now, or sepia, and just use the tip of my marker and just add a little bit of textures in here. So I'm just using the tip of that marker to create some texture. That. There we go. Now I'm going to fill in over here. This is what we're going to do. We're going to create like scribbles, but tiny scribbles. But we're going to make it into a ball shape or a circle shape, right? So let's choose where. I think I'm going to stay over here on the two sides of my flowers. And when I say scribbles, it's literally just going to be like this. Look, see that one? Let me zoom in real quick. Just really scribbles like that. And so I'm just using, again, the tip of my marker. I'm just going like this. We're going to keep doing this until we get that desired size of the ball or circle that we want. Just that. Just go lightly, go easy, very light pressure. So little tiny strokes like that. Okay, so we're going to leave it there for a little bit and let it dry. Go over here on this side, and believe it or not, this is one of the best advice that I will share with you. Your notebook is not stationary because you're not using a canvas or anything like that. So you can move it around. Please, be comfortable. So I always felt like I have to reach like this and make myself uncomfortable to write. So no, move your notebook instead of you trying to really be uncomfortable with your hand. I know sometimes it's hard to visualize things, so just move it to however that's going to be most comfortable to you. So I'm just going to keep creating those tiny scribbles, using the tip of the marker. And when you're doing tiny scribbles like this to create a much bigger shape, know that you're adding texture every single time you create that stroke. And this is a beautiful thing when it comes to the pit artist, is that when you apply a second coat, actually the reason why I love this when it comes to lettering as well, because I don't need a whole lot of colors, because this color, if I let this one dry and I go on top of this, it will add another layer that will overlay on top of that first layer that we did. And it's going to be slightly darker. So you're changing the values of your colors. So we have that. I'm not super excited about my shape in here. So if you feel like it's too much of a ball, go out on the outer layer of that shape and just add a little bit more scribbles in there, leaving a little bit of white areas for the negative space. All right, seems good to me. Now I'm going to add a raw umber in here. Just going to add a little small one just a tiny one. But using the same technique, just the tip, and making really tiny strokes like that. Leave it there. Go on this side and repeat that same process. The more white areas that you have in there, the more negative space, the more highlight in your drawing. So it looks like there's slight shining. So if you don't want too much of those, then you can just fill in some of those areas. I'm going in the middle part, so I want to make sure that my middle part is really dark. But I'm going to go one more over here. Another tiny one again. I'm going to concentrate on the middle part to make it a little slightly darker, although I am going to use a darker brown again later. I just don't want too much of those negative space in the middle. It's okay on the outer part of my flower, so it looks like my flower is really wide open and bloomed, but in the middle part, I want that really dense and much darker than the rest of the flower. Playing with your strokes, some strokes would go to the left, left to right, and some I would go from right to left. Just really kind of play around. All right. And then this time I'm going to use the scarlet red, and I'm going to make kind of like this shape of flower, but instead of two, I'm just going to go one. So one petal, and then just create this one. Repeat the same. Like that. And then this one, I will choose a much darker shade of brown and repeat the same process. Just using the tip of the brush, I can really get like thinner, small strokes like that. But if you have a fine point pen, then, you know, of course that works as well. Right. So now that I have that, I'm going to use my magenta, and this one is really fun. It's kind of like connecting the dots, literally. So I'm going to make some dots. I'm going to flip this page so I can visualize it, because it's kind of like having a corner, a border here in the corner, and that's what we're trying to do here. So, oops, I guess you guys didn't see what I was talking about. Okay, so I flipped my page upside down because I feel like I can visualize it much better, because what we're doing is we're creating a border enclosed here on that corner. So now I'm going to make irregular dots, like really like this. Some would be smaller than the other, just like this. Like spread them apart. Yeah. And I would do the same over here as well. All right. And then I'm going to use the same color. I'm super lucky because this color comes in the super fine tip, or the letter S in the barrel. So super fine. And like what I said, it's just going to be like connecting the dots here. So I'm going to start from the top. Just going to work my way down and then adding some branches that. Ooh, I feel like I'm too far from this one, see? So I'm gonna add just a little bit in here. This one feels a little bit weird, but we're gonna make it work. We're just gonna connect all those dots in there. This is when you overthink things, you'll be like, oh no, that doesn't go there. No, there's, you know what? It's no one's really gonna look into that super close but yourself. So just go easy and just enjoy that process. All right, now, okay, for the flower, for the leaves, I'm not sure if I want to use the green. I think I'm going to go in with another color of brown, or if you have some metallic pens, those will actually work. So I'm going to pull some of my Heart of Gold metallics here. And I'm just going to make regular strokes here. So we're going to create, I like my leaves long like this and not pointy. If you want to overlay on top of your flowers, some are like overlapping, that would work as well. Have it. You know, guys, I do work a little slow. And it's always super restricting when you have like a time. It's like I want to teach you everything. And it's like sometimes with time, it's like super restricting and I feel like I'm not doing my best. But I do hope that I'm not going too fast. But okay, so we have that leaves over there. I'm not going to overthink this. I'm just going to move it here and just create my leaves over here. And you know this, you did this when you were little. You were drawing leaves when you were little, flowers when you were little, and it's still the same way. So I think when you're just a little bit older, all you got to do is play around with the sizes of your leaves, you know, make one a little bit smaller because that's nature, you know, it's not perfect. Okay, helps me visualize it when I'm like moving my notebook to the direction of the drawing, where I want it to go. It just helps my eyes work much better that way. I don't know if you're the same way, but you're going to see me move my notebook a lot. Okay, and I'm going to add another one over here. So just fill in your space. And we're going to overlap this on top of that flower. So while you're playing with the sizes of your leaves, play around with the direction as well. You know, some might be facing to the left. And so just gives it some visual interest that way. I think that was a good choice that we went for the gold. It's really pretty. Next month's classes, though, we're going to start creating for the holiday. So make sure to check out Michael's website to check out for the future classes. I'm super excited to get started with Christmas. Here we go. Just filling in areas now, really. So we have this, much smaller, like that. Okay, so I like to fill in some areas with some asterisk, some some simple dots. And what we're going to use, just going to use my darkest brown here, which is a dark sepia or sepia. So I'm just going to add some X also. I love using X like this and just filling in those areas like that. And so if you're gonna, you can use this, things that we're doing in the classes, please know that it's not restricted just for journaling. Everything that you've learned today, you can create your own card using this. You know, you can use this in your bullet journals, create your own stationaries. Can you imagine making this and then just copy it and then turn it into your stationery? So you have your very own. So I love to do things in threes like that. And so I have that filled in, love it. I want a little bit more of our magenta. So I'm just gonna go in and just add some irregular dots inside, or all over, I should say. This time we're not gonna connect it. I'm just doing it by threes. So kind of have like berries. But I really love that pop of color. Like here. Okay, so what you can do is you can actually move this over again over here at the bottom part of your notebook or your journal. You know, that's definitely something that you can do, but I feel like I'm okay with this for now, and we're going to do our brush lettering in here. All right, here we go. So when it comes to brush lettering, I am not very good at this, but I've been getting better. I have been really getting better. And what I'm talking about is using a pencil first. Before I would just go jump in and really just letter, and I letter big. I write super big. So I would normally ruin a perfect illustration because I didn't use a pencil when it comes to my lettering. So I have like, you know, I just need a little bit more space. And so it's either cramped or it's just not good. So use a pencil, even with the illustration that we did, since this is a free kind of like just very loose type of journal journal illustration. But if you're going to work on a project or things like that, use a pencil. Pencil will be your best friend because it's not permanent. You can erase it, you can start again, and it's all good. Okay, so I want to put in things I'm grateful for, or just I'm grateful for. Okay, so here I have a space, and this is how you're going to practice your composition. Analyze your space. And so I have three words. I'm grateful for. And this is where pen is going to be your best friend, because you can just really literally just write down I'm, and then the word grateful. I want this to be, you know, a focus. And so I'm just going to write in grateful. See, if I didn't have a pencil, I could have easily just not have enough space, and I will not be happy. I'm grateful for my pencil. That's a good prompt. Okay, I'm grateful. And then I'm going to write my for over here. There we go. All right. And then like that. And then we can put in the prompts in here. You can put in as many as you would like, or just one word, and then, you know, talk about that on the right side of your page. No, Wendy, this is one thing that's why I love the Pit Artist, is because there's no bleed through. And this paper is super thin. Okay, this is super thin, but no, there is no bleed through. One thing about the Hobonichi though, that if you are going to use it, it's something that you're going to have to learn to embrace, is that it's very thin so you can see everything. But watercolors do not bleed through. The India ink will not bleed through in here, but some markers are going to bleed through for sure. So it's just, that's why you always use the back page of your journal to kind of, you know, test your favorite markers in here first. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to grab, oops, we have some stars. I'm going to grab my kneadable eraser that I really love. And since it's very thin, it's really hard to erase also. So normally I would go roll it, but what I do is ruin it because I'm super heavy when I'm working. I don't know why, but I just make sure to hold in your notebook so you don't ruin your page, or you can just kind of kiss and lift those pencil like that. And then this one, I'm not sure if I want to use a black marker, but I think I'm going to. So let's grab a black Pitt Artist pen. This is a brush nib as well. I have this. And then we're going to start with the I am. See how big I write? Okay. When you're going down is when you apply your downstroke. Downstroke is your thick lines or your thick strokes like that. Okay. Here we go. Use the tip of my pen to go up. Use the body when I'm going down. Go down. Thin going up, thick going down. Light pressure going up, heavy pressure going down. When I was first starting to learn hand lettering, I would repeat this over and over in my head. And I would practice with the same words over and over. And that is really one thing that you'd like to try, whether it's your name, whether it's the word love. I think I've written the word love so many times. And the word blessed. And keeping a journal or a notebook will help you because you're going to see your progress. You go through the pages and you say, wow, I have actually improved. So it's a good practice. Here we go. I love it. And so if there's some pencil left in there, I would give it, because this one has a very coated paper. So I'll give it a little bit for it to dry first before I start erasing any pencil marks like that, so that I won't end up ruining anything in here. But, I can start putting in my prompts in here. Let's choose the medium flesh. I'm just going to write them in bold brush lettering, and then I'm going to go write about it here on my right side. So I'll do that later, but I'll finish some of the words with you today. So I'm grateful for my great health. So for my health, I think this is something that, we are all praying for, is to stay healthy. Because I'm healthy. Look at that. I was going to put in health and then I put in healthy, and that's why you use pencil. See, that's perfect. Example. And this is something that I like to say every day. I wake up in the morning and it just, I am healthy. I am blessed. I am loved. So try doing that, whether in your bullet journal or your notebook, in your phone notes, put in the word I am and write, and then follow it with the words that you want to manifest and words that you want to make happen. So because I'm healthy, I'm grateful for my family. I'm going to use the brown this time. So same thing with the healthy here. I'm going to add like this for the letter F. Go light, and then hard, light again. So every time you write away from you, think light. Every time you write towards you, apply pressure and think heavy. So towards me, away from me. And if you don't get it in the beginning, don't get frustrated. It just takes practice, and really repetition is the key. Family. I am grateful for peace of mind. Once you learn how to brush letter, you can do so many things. You can turn this hobby into a business, into a career. The things that, the old people said, there's no money in art. No, that's not true anymore. With you being persevere, determination, there's nothing you cannot do. And then lastly, I'm going to put in love. And then I want to use the golden here. So I'm going to use the metallics, heart of gold. And this time I'm going to do a faux lettering. And this is what we did, I think, the beginning of November. We did a little bit of faux lettering. And so if you missed that class, make sure you go to Michael's YouTube channel. So faux lettering is just really a fake brush lettering. And so what you do with it is, by understanding when to have the thicker strokes and when to have the thin strokes. And we talked about it. Remember, when you're writing towards you is when the thick stroke is. So kind of like mentally retrace everything. I went up, and so this is where I'm going to add another line beside that line, and then fill in that space right there. This one I want to style it. I went down, so I'm going to add a little bit of thickness in there. This one I went down, so add here, that over there. I went down here, so add another stroke and fill in. Okay, this one, go down, add that, and then style that, even though it's going up, but I want that to be a little thicker. But there we go. Look at that. We have beautiful layout in our journal. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So It's going crazy. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much again for joining us today. I hope that this class was super relaxing and also very inspirational for you. I hope that I was able to inspire you to start your own journal, or if you're already doing your journaling, I hope that you keep going with it and just embrace the happy mess and enjoy your process. Okay. So thank you again so much, everyone. We hope to see you again next month for another class with Michaels and Faber-Castell USA. Please be well, stay creative, stay happy, and God bless you all. Thank you, guys.